Hello and welcome once more to my channel where I seek to provide Oracle content for your personal and professional development. And if you like what I produce, please go ahead, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, enable notifications so that you stay informed of when I release new content. So today, I will be talking about incremental backup strategy. So when it comes to backing up our Oracle databases, there is a variety of choices that we can do. There are many options when it comes to how we want to back up the contents of our database, but whichever method you use will most likely be one of the following. So you could either do user managed backups. You could use RMAN, which is a recovery manager, to help you back up your database with a variety of options. And again, you can supplement your backup strategy using logical backups. By that, I mean using data pump export utility to back up, full databases or specific schemas or tables that, you want to back up. But today, our focus is going to be on RMAN incremental backups. So what are RMAN incremental backups? So an RMAN incremental backup copies only data blocks that have changed since a previous backup. Now you can use RMAN to create incremental backups of data files, table spaces, or whole databases. Now, I would, in this demo, use some illustrations to kind of show you, give you a bit of a graphical take on what I want you guys to understand. But talking about incremental backups again, these are multi-level backups, right? And there are only two levels. There is level 0 or there is level 1. Now, there is no level 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's just level 0 or level 1. Level 0 incremental backups forms the foundation for subsequent incremental backups, right? And copies all blocks that contain data. The only difference between a level 0 incremental backup and a full database backup is that a full backup is never included in an incremental strategy. So a full backup doesn't form the foundation of an incremental strategy. So an incremental level 0 backup is a full backup that happens to be the parent of an incremental backup whose level is greater than 1. By that, I mean level 1. So a level 1 backup, therefore, can either be one of the following types. And this is where it becomes a little bit interesting. And there is a caveat that you need to understand. A differential incremental level 1 backup and a cumulative incremental level 1 backup. So those are the two different types of level 1 backups. A differential incremental level 1 backup backs up all blocks that have changed after the most recent backup, incremental backup. By that, I mean either a level 0 or a level 1. And in the illustration, I would kind of clarify that a little bit with you. Now, we have to understand that a differential incremental backup is the default. So if you issue, a backup incremental level 1 database without specifying if it's differential or cumulative, it is going to, by default, back up a differential incremental backup. Now, a cumulative incremental level 1, on the contrary, backs up all blocks that have changed since the most recent level 0. Now, for the differential, it backs up from level 0 or level 1, but for a cumulative, it backs up everything that has changed from the most recent level 0. So let's go ahead and put that into an illustration here. So now, let's assume that for a backup strategy within your enterprise, you are performing full incremental backups, which by that I mean full level 0 backups on a Sunday. So let's go ahead and hit Sunday here. Let's create a little chart here. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So let's go through a period of 7 days. Now let's do the same on this other side. I'm just going to copy here. Let's kind of format this a little bit here. So I'm just going to copy these guys here. and paste on this other side. Okay. Now, at the same time, let me see here. Okay. So let's assume, for the sake of our demonstration here, that we are performing a full backup on Sundays, right? And in most places that I have worked at, that is usually the norm, right? They do full backups on weekends when systems are a little bit slower, or let's say more friendly, right? There is not much activity within, the database infrastructure. So they typically, prefer running those backups on those days. All right. So let's say on Sunday, right here, I'm just going to merge this, and we are performing a level 0 backup, right? So this is our incremental strategy. Let's do this. Level 0 backup. All right, let's do that. So, and let's give it a little bit of coloring. That way we kind of know exactly where this all starts, right? I'm going to copy this. Let me first of all make it bold, and then I'm going to copy this over, because in both incremental differential and incremental cumulative, the strategies are the same. All right. And for the purposes of clarification, let me just go ahead and put maybe incremental differential. Incremental differential, and then let's use incremental cumulative on this side. Okay. All right, let's make this a little bit bold. That way we know we're giving it a little bit more visual. Okay. So what typically happens, therefore, with an incremental differential, remember I said for a level 0, it backs up the whole database, right? It performs a full backup of all the blocks within the database. Now, for a level 1, for the incremental differential, what typically happens is on Monday, we run a level 1. And what happens on Monday on level 1 is the blocks that have changed since the last level 0, which is this one, gets backed up. On Tuesday, assuming we run a differential backup for our databases on a daily basis, on Tuesday, what's going to back up is all that has changed since the last level 1 backup, which was the backup for Monday. Similarly, for Wednesday, that is going to also be the case. Now, I'm kind of running out of colors here. Hopefully, I can be able to represent something that you would understand. Now, for Thursday, Friday, each of the level 1 differential backups that you are going to take are only going to back up blocks that have changed since the last level 1 throughout the week. But the first level 1 backup, which you run on Monday, would back up only blocks that changed since the last level 0. And this is going to get clearer here in a little bit. All right. So let's go ahead and pick our colors. And now on Saturday, all that is going to get backed up is only the blocks that changed since Friday. So let's go ahead. I don't want any overlaps. So let's go ahead and delete this. Okay. Now, this is for our incremental differential backups. For the incremental cumulative backups, I don't know what happened to my level 0. Did I delete it? Oh, I think I probably did. So level 0, let's put it that way. And I would do level 0. Okay. And the rest of this all is going to be level 1. Let's go ahead and put that here. Incremental, let's just do level 1 just to keep it consistent. So, and then I would do the same for this one. And then I would do level 1. Okay. So this is incremental, differential. On the first example, now we are going to talk about the incremental cumulative. So what typically happens with our incremental cumulative is, I'm a little bit paranoid about formatting, so this has to be looking good. Okay, good. So when you are doing an incremental cumulative, remember the level 0 is not dependent on if it is differential or cumulative. Level 0, like I said, backs up all blocks within the database. So for the level 1, when it comes to cumulative, on Monday, we are going to back up what has changed since the last level 0. On Tuesday, we are going to back up what has changed since the last level 0, right? So cumulative always falls back to what has changed since the last level 0. So I'm hoping that you're beginning to see the pattern here. On Thursday, on Friday, and on Saturday, assuming that this process gets recycled, at the beginning of the following week. So if you take a good look at this, the difference between an incremental differential and an incremental cumulative is where your level 1 backups do start. And with the differential, your level 1 backup starts where the last incremental backup stop. Now, it could be an incremental level 0, as in the case of Monday, or it could be an incremental level 1, as in the case of Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. For the cumulative, what typically happens is it backs up the level 1s, back up all the blocks that have changed since the last level 0. So Monday, it is going to back up only blocks that changed on Monday. On Tuesday, it is going to back up all blocks that changed on Tuesday and Monday. On Wednesday, it is going to back up all blocks that changed on Wednesday and the rest of the days before that, right after the level 0. Similarly for Thursday, similarly for Friday, similarly for Saturday. So by the time we get to Saturday, your backup, your cumulative backup is almost as big in terms of size as your level 0 backup. Now, there are some fun facts that we need to kind of take a look at, right? And you're looking at these backups and you're asking yourself, but depending on the size of my database, depending on my backup strategy, which of these is the most optimal? Now, the choice of these backups depends on your environment. And again, the criticality of your environment, the resources that you have within your environment will kind of drive a lot of that decision making. But when it comes to some of the advantages and disadvantages of incremental, differential versus incremental cumulative, one of the things that I usually like putting this in kind of a few key points, right? Recovery. So when we talk about recovery, right, cumulative backups are faster to restore your database from than differential backups because of the fewer incremental backups that need to be applied during recovery. That said, assuming that you are here on Thursday and you get a major maybe crash, for example, right? Maybe you get a crash here. Let's put that in red. Now, if you're trying to recover with a differential, and let's do that scenario also here in red, okay? If you're trying to recover from any of these strategies, well, what typically happens is, of course, your database restores the level 0 and then starts applying the restore for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Now, that might be a little time consuming because it of course, is restoring multiple separate pieces of your backups. However, in the case of the cumulative, what typically happens is it restores your level 0 and then just goes ahead and picks what the last backup that you did, the last level 1 backup that you did, and restores everything in its entirety. So in terms of recovery speed, the cumulative is better. Now, in terms of backup speed, how fast does it take for you to complete your backups? For the daily backup speed, so we're talking about the level 1 speeds. For the daily backup speeds, the differential backups run faster than the cumulative backups because they do not duplicate what has already been backed up. So Monday backs up blocks that changed on Monday. Tuesday backs up blocks that changed on Tuesday. Wednesday backs up blocks that changed on Wednesday. So it doesn't need to back up, Wednesday doesn't need to back up Tuesday and Monday, right? So in terms of the time it takes to back up these databases, this of course is going to be a lot faster, as opposed to your cumulative backups, where, you know, Tuesday is going to back up what changed on Tuesday in addition to what changed on Monday. So it takes about 2 times longer for that to be backed up. Now, the last point I want to make about is which seems apparent, is disk space usage, right? So you would see clearly here that the separate differential backups only take as much space as the blocks that have changed during that backup. But for the cumulative, of course, again, it takes everything that changed since level 0. So in terms of space requirements, cumulative backups would occupy a lot more space. Now, now that we have an understanding of what the cumulative and differential backups look like, let's go ahead to our database, of course, and then try to do that. And I'm going to do this in a rack environment. So I am going to open up one of my rack nodes. Let's go ahead and use this one. Okay. And let's see what is running. This is in capital letters. So PS minus EF, grep Pimon. So I have a few databases running, right? Let's see. My RAMDB is actually a 19th. So let's source my environment into RAMDB. Let's just go with the seed at once. That way I can get into the database, right? So let's look at the environment for grep Aura. Let's see what environmental variables have been set here. So my Oracle version is 19C, all right? So let's go ahead straight up into RMAN, and let's connect to our target. And let's see what happens here. So I'm connected to this target. So let's do a quick list my backup summary. Let's see if I have any backups running, which I probably don't. This is a test box, so I'm only going to use this. I think the only thing here is May 3rd, and I'm not sure. Let's list backup with tag, and let's see what's in that. Okay, I think it's just my SP file and control file. So let's do one more thing, show all. Let's see if my auto backup of my control file is on, and that is why we have this backup here. Now, when you are taking a backup of your database using an incremental strategy, one of the things that you need to also know is that if I am taking a backup, let's say a backup incremental level 1 of the database, where there is no level 0 existing, automatically RMAN is going to create a level 0. And like I showed you, we don't have any here. So, but the format and the syntax is backup incremental level. You have to specify the level, right? Level 0 of my database. So if I run this command, and this is a small database, so it's going to take, you know, a very short time to back up, right? So when this completes, and now it's backing up control file and SP file, and then I do a list backup summary, I now see here. Now, if you look at this, and this is kind of where you can make a difference, right? The level 0 backup, you can see this here. So if I go ahead and list backup tag, I give that tag name, it's going to tell me the type is an incremental, the level is 0. Okay, so I'm going to delete this backup. I'm going to delete backup tag. This is the tag here. So it's going to ask me for a prompt. I would say yes. Now that it is deleted, I would list my backup summary, and you would see here that that backup is gone. Okay, so that backup is gone. Now, the reason I did this was if I wanted to run a level 1 backup where there is no level 0 existing, as you see right here in this case, I don't have a level 0 existing. If I run that same command, backup incremental, instead of level 0, I say level 1 database. What that typically would do, and I would show you guys when we get the backup summary, you would see that because the level 0 did not exist, it would create a level 0 rather than a level 1. So let's list our backup summary. Okay, good. So right here, you see there is a level 0 that has been created. So let's list backup tag, give the tag name. All right, so you see here now that it has done a level 0 of our data files instead. Okay, so that's kind of how you go ahead and take a level 0 backup. Now remember, the level 0 backup, irrespective of if you're using an incremental differential strategy or an incremental cumulative strategy, then you know, your level 0 backup is your level 0 backup. Your differential or cumulative strategies compound on your level 0 or your level 1. So like I mentioned earlier, we now have a level 0 backup. So we can definitely take a level 1 backup, and you would see here that it would show up as a level 1 backup. Let's go ahead and take that. Okay, now that our backup is completed, we can go ahead and see what's happening. All right, so our backup is completed here. So let's go ahead and see how that looks in our backup summary. So let's go ahead and list our backup summary, and then we see what different backups we now have. So I do have a level 0 and I do have a level 1. And if I list backup tag that, I should be able to see that I have level 1s on this. Now, when it comes to large, very large databases, there is a way that we can do to improve the speed at which our backups are being taken. Now, if you have heard the term block change tracking, it certainly is a technology that you can enable to enhance or optimize your incremental backups. Now, a block change tracking file is certainly a file that you create within your database. It is stored within your database. And that file helps improve incremental backup performance by recording changes to blocks, right? Or let me put it this way. It records changes for the blocks that in which changes have taken place. So block change tracking. So blocks that have changed, the metadata is stored in this file so that when RMAN is taking a level 1, it automatically knows which of the blocks has changed rather than scanning the entire blocks of the data files. It just knows exactly which blocks have changed. So it goes ahead and backs up those databases. Now, RMAN only uses block change tracking within an incremental level 1 strategy, because at the level 0, it backs up all the blocks. Okay. Now, the other thing about block change tracking is it uses a file, like I mentioned. Now, that file, the default location of that file, and let's go ahead and go into our database. the default location of that file. So if I do a show parameter, db create file test, if you have this parameter set, if you specify the command to create a block change tracking file without specifying the location, it automatically creates that block change tracking file within the DB file create test. Otherwise, you can force it to your own location. Now, this is a rack database. So my recommendation when you're using a rack database to enable block change tracking is for you to store that block change tracking on ASM, which is a shared location that is accessible to all the nodes. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead here and just enable block change tracking. Now, this is a small database. You really will not see the effect of how this is done. So alter system, no, not really alter system, alter database, create enable block change tracking. So alter database, enable block change tracking. Okay, so block change tracking has been enabled, right? So and again, you know, we certainly can see what this file is within our database system. If you give me, so like I was mentioning before, so now that we've enabled our block change tracking, we can certainly try to find out, you know, where our block change tracking file is located. So using this command, we have the $v block change tracking, right? It is a table that would contain that information. So if you want to know if your block change tracking file, where your block change tracking file within your database, you select the file name from $v block change tracking, and that would certainly tell you which file is being used for your block change tracking. Now, similarly, if you want to verify if block change tracking has been enabled, you can select status still from the same view, $v block change tracking, and you would get the status of enabled. So there you have it in a very short summary, what, you know, incremental backup strategy can look like, a good understanding of, you know, incremental differential and incremental cumulative, and a means for you to be able to perform that. You can write that, of course, in your RMAN scripts, and, you know, you can configure that through Enterprise Manager, certainly, or you can write a script, shell script, and use a cron scheduler to enable those backups to run the desired days that you want to run them. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for watching. If you like this content, go ahead, hit the like button. That helps with the YouTube algorithm for sure. Share with your friends. This is just kind of a quick knowledge, quick revision for you to be able to know how you can implement, you know, an incremental strategy within your environment. And again, this is absolutely a must for very large databases because this significantly improves on the speed at which your databases are backed up. We are talking about magnitudes of hours, right? When we're talking about large databases, 15, 20, 30, 40 terabyte databases, sometimes if you don't have block change tracking enabled, full backups can take 6 to 9 hours. Actually, yeah, full backups can take 6. Incremental backups, level 1 backups can take 6 to 9 hours, depending on the size of your database. And full backups, I experienced one database I had was in the 30-something terabytes, in the high 30 terabytes. It took 33 hours to back up. So using an incremental strategy and, of course, enabling block change tracking will significantly reduce your backup time. Thank you for watching. I certainly would see you in the next video.